Members of council, just to bring folks up to speed, last year in June is when we heard from FAA, here's your grant package, make your decision whether to accept or not accept. This year Congress is a little bit behind in their budgetary cycle, but that is a function of when they make their decision and FAA funds are released, that's when we'll know. So while we could delay, we do run some risk of being faced with having to make a quick decision. Our intent was to get this kick-started, particularly with the level of public interest, rather than putting off or delaying decisions and having potentially the interest in the community delayed. We can't guarantee when we'll receive notice. Last year we did receive notice from the FAA, and we actually had City Council accept the grant funds in the June timeframe. So that does create some risk for council and the community if we delay this substantially. And I understand the need to have council participate and review the community, but just understand that that can create impacts for us.
And I would like to point out that last year, when we went for the funding for runway 31, we did promise, especially the Golden Beach area, that we would go forward to get the grant for this year for 42, so that we don't have the jets flying over Golden Beach as the preferred runway because it's in better condition. So I really think if we're going to keep our word to the community, we need to go forward without delaying our chance for the grants.
The charrette process will be, it's not a one-shot, one-meeting deal. I mean, it is going to be an in-depth process. Once we begin that, it will take us several weeks to secure the services of a consultant and to go through that process as well. So having the workshop continues the public education and components. The airport master plan does include information about the financial condition of the airport. We can certainly provide those materials within the next couple of days so that council and the airport advisory board has those materials available. I know Mr. Watts has been working with the airport consultant to finalize those materials so we could put them out to everyone this week.
Judge Moore?
Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize the grant application for runway 422, obviously, so I'll defer to council on it.
Anybody else? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Wilson?
I would move that we would approve item 4 of the city manager's report as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mayor, just
Yes,
for
ma'am.
clarification, then will that include the tentative date, the
Yes, it will.
May 17th at 5 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
For the workshop. Thank you.
Is 5 p.m. okay with everybody as opposed to a little bit later?
I'm sorry?
5 p.m. okay with everybody? Okay. Any other discussion? Do you have?
I'll abstain from voting with my conflict of interest on record.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask, are we going to want to
Airport master.
basically record that one like we did the other workshop?
Oh, the presentations?
I would there's a few things that we're going to have to do. The meeting, considering the amount of participation we've been seeing, Mr. Watts has reserved the community center so we can use that facility, but we're going to have to get an audio-visual company to come in besides our company because we don't have microphones. We may be able to ask the county if we can get them. The way they set up a meeting, I just don't have that type of equipment. But we will coordinate all of that.
If we can get the county at a reasonable cost, I think, at least in my opinion, this way we can have it when Judge Moore gets back and other people that missed the meeting, they can always have the DVD to...
You do want to have it televised then? I mean, televised would be...
Televised or recorded?
Just recorded.
I'm sorry, it won't be televised necessarily, but...
Recorded.
Yes, video recorded.
Unless the county thinks it's important enough to put up on their airtime, which I doubt.
They don't give us time.
Would you look into, I assume that that's consistent with whoever made the motion?
Yes.
And the seconder?
Judge Moore.
Second.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes with one abstention.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Mayor did make a comment with regard to potentially at the staff level as we move through this, having one or more of the developers that did not indicate an interest of working with the community to eliminate them for consideration in participating in the public charrette process as we move forward. We'll take that under consideration. I'll work with Mr. Hall and review any questions that may be there from a legal perspective or process perspective. And before we take any action on that, we'll get back to council.
Is everybody in agreement with me on that?
Yep. I think I
Yeah.
tried to make it clear that day.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. The next item is, oh, wait a minute. There was, there were
Yeah,
two.
we kind of got jumped ahead real fast here.
Yeah, we
I
did.
wanted to have a clarification of where we are on that leasing. I was under the understanding that it was still being researched.
The licensing issue.
The licensing.
Licensing, yeah, I had, because I tried to keep a list, and that was one of the things that didn't get covered by moving
Mr.
item
Anderson,
4.
forward his correspondence. The property in question, there is a swimming pool under construction. I spoke with the zoning department, and they confirmed that it is within the terms of the zoning ordinance, and the pool and its facilities are not being constructed on any adjoining city right-of-way areas. It's entirely within the boundaries of the private property that the pool is being constructed. There are issues with regard to the historical license agreements. The prior city manager signed agreements without city council consent. Frankly, the airport issues and several other items have been more pressing for Mr. Anderson and I, but Mr. Slaughter was asked to write a letter to the gentleman from the public confirming from the zoning perspective that it meets the setbacks and the zoning code requirements, and that those improvements are entirely within the private property boundaries. We have not been able to have any time with the other issues that have been on my plate and Mr. Anderson's plate to review the historical licensing practices. They do require, at least from my reading of the code, that city council authorize them, and those that weren't, that's a different question.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I took it at the last meeting that that was an instruction to the city manager and staff to look into the licensing agreements. So when I received Mr. Rogers' letter, I just forwarded it on to Mr. Black and told him that if he needs any assistance from the city attorney's office, just ask and we'll assist. But I thought it was basically going to be city staff reviewing how it is that that permit got issued and what's going on with the license is amended. But if you need anything, let me know.
Is he going to get something followed up in writing?
Mr. Slaughter was going to prepare a letter to him to express that. Obviously, Tom was busy this past week with the resort dwelling appeal, but I do know that Tom was in the process of preparing a letter confirming that the zoning code setbacks and provisions were lawful.
Okay.
That was the only loose note that I had from public comment. All right, given the hour, let's take a break and we'll come back.
Mr. Mayor, before you
go ahead.
Ms. Stelzer raised one question. At least, I believe, two of the developers have requested through her an opportunity to meet one-on-one with each of you. I would encourage you not to do that. And perhaps City Council may want to take action to indicate that that will be your practice, and we can
I think
let the
that would
clerk's
be
office to go through
inappropriate.
That was
I
certainly
had
when
already made that decision myself that I wouldn't be meeting with
Just helps for Lori and her staff and for myself and our staff to know that you're not going to do that.
Right, I will not do that. Judge Warren?
No, I will not meet with any of the developers, and I did want to say that I have never met with any of the developers or any of their representatives up until this point in time.
I haven't either, and I won't.
Same here. And neither have I.
Okay, we'll take a break.